I think the recent decoupling where equities went down and we stayed steady is a very pertinent indicator that people should be paying a lot of attention to. Because when we are aligned with stocks and we move with stocks, people kind of assume Bitcoin is a tech stock, right? But it is not. It is the ruler by which you measure everything else. There are only 21 million coins. And I don't think people really understand that that level of scarcity means there are no undos. There's no take backsies. Once the Bitcoin is gone, it is gone. Once it's off market into the hands of a seller with no intent to sell, that's it. There is no more. You can't make more. You can make an altcoin, but you can't make more Bitcoin, right? So I think you're going to see Saylor and MicroStrategy, or Strategy now, keep buying, taking coins off the market. They've already took double the amount of mined coins off this year. We're already seeing the public mining companies stop selling and just borrow and get more Bitcoin. You're seeing GameStop making their foray into this. And as we talked about before, states, nation states, they are all starting to get ready to buy. And most of the Bitcoin supply has been mined already. So there's like maybe 1 million coins left to be mined for the next 100 odd years. So where are we going to get more coins? As soon as all of that buy pressure culminates, you're going to see the price move. You're going to see everything massively decouple. Bitcoin's going to take off like a rocket ship. And that's the thesis behind the Omega candle, right? We're just going to see a supply shock that triggers a massive green candle up. And that's going to trigger more green candles because FOMO is really what drives everything, right? Nobody thinks ahead. Nobody does the research. Nobody understands it. But when it goes up and it decouples, people pay attention and they allocate. And that's it.
What's your short, medium term thesis on what you think we could see for the rest of this year?
I mean, I honestly think we should have hit 200,000, and it shocks me every day that we're not at 200,000 yet. And that sentiment is echoed by, a macro expert. The CIO of Bitwise has said the same thing. We should already be at 200,000. It's just crazy that we're not there, and we're sub 100 now even. So I think it's just fear. Fear can push it down. There's 2 million coins on exchanges that are sloshing around that allow for price to be suppressed. And the hodlers, the long-term holders of Bitcoin, don't really have an impact. All they do is they coil the spring more tightly because they're not selling and they're accumulating more. So the price is a very short-term thing that can suddenly dissociate. You can suddenly see a big jump, and we've certainly seen this in Bitcoin's history, right? In 2017, we went up 17x, right? It's definitely possible that this happens again, and you just see a massive jump, especially with the state of the world as it is today. All those things we talked about, economic uncertainty, trade wars, currency wars, sovereign debt crises, these things can definitely move Bitcoin. If we can do a 17x when absolutely nothing was happening, we can definitely do a 17x when the world is on fire. Yeah, I would say the hash rate is a good indicator of what's to come. So if you look at hash rate, it's just going up nonstop. And what that should tell you is that there is a structural and fundamental change in the nature of miners. They are price insensitive now, or profit insensitive. They don't really care about profitability. It used to be that they would be very worried about when they're going to recoup their initial investments or when they're going to break even, and then when they can start making pure profit in Bitcoin mining. But that's changed now. And I think it has a lot to do with sovereign mining, where energy cost is effectively zero. It is their own energy. It's excess energy or whatever it is, I don't know, but they don't care. So they're just adding more and more hash rate. It could be Russia. It could be other countries with excess, and who knows? But that's definitely a structural change. And what that means is we have that same structural change coming for Bitcoin buying. And it's evident too, like MicroStrategy. It is indiscriminate at which price it buys, because I think, like us, Saylor believes this is also a gift. Anything under 100 or even 200 is a gift. He doesn't care if he's paying a premium at this point. And then the question you have to ask yourself is GameStop the same? Is Rumble the same? are all these other companies that are starting to add to their corporate balance sheets also price indiscriminate? And then what about nation states? I think they're definitely price indiscriminate. Once it becomes a race to print your money to buy Bitcoin, then all the gloves are off. It's just, let's escape the fiat system while we can.
Sovereign nations using their energy to mine Bitcoin. So this is like, is Bhutan? I mean, El Salvador is doing this. Bhutan is doing this, correct? So this is where they're using like excess energy that's like available. It's not being used for anything else, and then they use that energy to mine Bitcoin for the nation. Like that is, and is that when you talk to nation states, is that the way that they're interested in getting involved versus buying?
That should be the way they're interested. But like I said before, there is a lot of concern over career risk. Like, are you going to be the MP or congressman in your country that's going to stand up and say, here's a bill to start mining Bitcoin and risk something, right? I don't think that's the case yet. But Bhutan is a very powerful beacon because they've done it. There is a track record that you can look at and you can see what they did exactly and how much Bitcoin they got. And you can see the benefits too. Like, this is free money, and they're going to be selling some Bitcoin to build an airport, a really cool looking new airport.
Really. So yeah. They are now monetizing some of the Bitcoin that they have mined in order to benefit their and we're talking about Bhutan, which is not a wealthy country.
Yeah, well, now it is, but it just goes to show you have to present the full playbook. Like, theoretically, everyone should have realized this 10 years ago. But someone's got to do it first, and everyone's got to copy them because that's just the way it works. But we've been engaged with governments with a lot of geothermal potential, and we've talked to them for years. And I think now the wheels are starting to turn because you can point to this thing and say, hey, they did A, and now they're at B. And it's just, you cannot disregard that anymore. And I think that's just going to accelerate because what else are you going to do with all that stranded energy or untapped energy? You have to do something with it, especially if you want an airport or you want high-speed rail or you want new highway infrastructure or you want, whatever.
What's going on with Thailand? I know that Thailand has also been talking a lot about adopting crypto, adopting Bitcoin. What's happening there?
We've met with some of the government officials, and I think that definitely could be an interesting one to look at in the coming months and weeks.
Okay, take that for what it is. Thanks, Samson. That's exciting. We'll see what happens next with Thailand. I've got to ask this question, and shoot me if you get to ask this all the time. But just because of the documentary Money Electric that came out recently, and you working on that and being involved with that, do you know who Satoshi is?
No, I don't think Satoshi is anybody that's out here doing interviews or going to conferences. I haven't met anybody that kind of would indicate that that's Satoshi.
And do we need to know who Satoshi is?
No, because if we did know Satoshi, then I think Satoshi would be in a world of trouble because, you can't create this new monetary paradigm and not have people try to influence you to influence that protocol.
Yeah, and is there... The only reason why I think people are so obsessed with Satoshi is, quite honestly, the money side of it. He's just got so much Bitcoin, which is worth so much. If he didn't hold all of that, whoever it is, we don't know, hold all of that, then people might actually, quite frankly, not be so obsessed with it. Is there concern around the amount of Bitcoin that Satoshi has? Like, does that cause concern for you if they were to come back and if they were to, sell it or put it on the market? Is that concerning at all for you?
Not really. I mean, you could say that Satoshi has 1 million coins, but that's an estimate. There is no concrete proof, right? That's the whole point of Bitcoin. You can't really tell.
Don't concretely know actually how many.
It's Satoshi a presumption. It's called Satoshi, and you can say maybe it's him, but you don't know for sure, right? Just like if you pass your private key to someone else, do you still have the Bitcoin? If you destroyed your key and gave it to them, then it's not yours anymore, right? So you have to be comfortable with Bitcoin And this idea that you can't really know who has Bitcoin or how much Bitcoin anyone has, right? You can estimate and approximate and guess, but you don't know for sure. The only way you know for sure is if someone proves it. And, there is no proof that Satoshi has those coins. But assuming he does still have them, it doesn't really matter because a million coins is nothing. If you look at the rate of consumption of Bitcoin by all of these entities, if he wanted to sell, that would just be absorbed in, at this rate, a matter of months.
It's a good point. It would be absorbed relatively quickly. I mean, we saw the market absorb Germany's Bitcoin last summer. How do you think Germany feels right now? I mean, I guess it's been actually when they sold, they would have sold at what? We would have been around 60, 50
something
somewhere,
like that.
Somewhere there. How do they feel? Did you ever talk to them? Like, what were they doing? Why did they sell it?
Well, it was Saxony. It wasn't federal funds of Germany, but we were engaged with Joanna Kotar and her group, the Bitcoin and Bundestag group, and they were actually writing letters to the Saxony government saying don't sell, but they didn't respond. So I think a lot of Germans that are aware of Bitcoin, especially Bitcoiners, of course, are just in disbelief that happened. But there's still a chance to buy back some of it. It's not too late, but it will become too late at some point. But I think Germany has bigger things to deal with. There is a massive influx of ESG think, and that's destroyed their energy sector. And now with security an issue, I think they're going to ramp up military spending. But it's almost like for Germany, Bitcoin is the least of their troubles. They have several other higher priority things to deal with first before they look at Bitcoin. But it's definitely up there in the mix. Like, you need Bitcoin as a sovereign nation now. And the reasons are the same as any country wanting gold. You wanted gold, now you want Bitcoin.
Any predictions for where you think Bitcoin could go once this macro stuff clears out? So whether it lasts a week or 2 weeks, I know you said you think we should be at 200K. Any predictions where you think we could be end of this year or within the next few years?
Well, my prediction is that we'll hit 1 million this year. So we'll see what happens.
Really? You're at 1 million this year? Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not once the macro stuff clears out. It's the macro stuff pushing us there. If you look at the state of the world, debt is not getting less for any country. It's getting more and it's getting higher and higher, and something has to break eventually. And in this world where trust is rapidly declining, alliances and partnerships at the nation state level are dropping, everyone's going to look to defend their own. And to do that, you need a Bitcoin strategy.